r/TooAfraidToAsk. Yas Miniature Altits says, how did adolescents in the 1990s spend their leisure time? Biz says, outside all the time. Rain, snow, sleet or shine. Packs of wild teenagers roamed the streets. Vincem says, I'm almost 40, and I always figured that the reason I never check the weather or even care is probably a carryover from my childhood. Did not, frick, I'm matter at all what the weather was. We were gone as early as we could be, and pushed the limits on coming home as late as we possibly could every chance we got. Didn't matter. We weren't even doing shit really. Just freedom. Go sit by a, frick, in bridge with some buddies or something. Might even catch a ride with a high schooler and spend all day out in the country. Not a human on earth knew where ya were either. Literally. So yay. I just, frick, I make plans and go do my thing with complete disregard to the weather. Ben Affleck in a cactus says, I remember wishing for rain so we could play some mud football. Forjavi always says, I was outside every single day. I rode my bike with friends, played street hockey, eventually got a skateboard. No joke, the neighborhood kids were out every day until around 7 PM. It makes me sad that I don't see this as much anymore. Carthan says, yup, this was us in my neighborhood. Come home when street lights come on. Lee Harrison 1984 says, same. We would also get dropped off at the mall or movie theater and hang there for hours. Usually get into small scale trouble, maybe a scuffle with kids from different schools. 10/10ths, would do childhood again. Basin Fat Load says, outside all the time. No phones then, so just a bike and doing dumb shit with my friends. Grunchweaver says, everyone acts like kids were outside 24/7 back then, and there were definitely more than now, but a lot of kids spent a lot of time playing Nintendo/computer games/watching TV and movies, etc. In the 90s the internet was a thing. Plus there was winter. There were plenty of indoor kids back then too. r/TooAfraidToAsk. Zangus21 says, how to stop peeing frequently. Look, I know I can easily Google this question, but it's really bugging me. I can hold my bladder for 10-20 minutes before having to go to the bathroom, and it's getting really annoying. I'm going to a concert soon, and I don't want to bug the people in my row with frequent going. How to prevent this? I know it's not diabetes or a UT, because it doesn't burn, hurt, but it's legit bugging me bad. Any suggestions? Thanks. Edit 25 male. Drink 2 is less than L water a day. No caffeine. Have anxiety, depression. Ephraim Hurley says, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe diabetics burn when they pee. Also, caffeine? Explorthus says, type 2. No burn from either, just chronic all the time peeing, unless you're taking meds as prescribed. Curious how doc knows they are not diabetic. Noise says, see a doctor. Combined with other symptoms, intense thirst, etc. Frequent urination could indicate a disorder unrelated to diabetes. Chiselois says, uterus don't always burn. I've had one that I didn't notice until it turned into a kidney infection, and then I couldn't stand up straight anymore. Kath Thompson says, there's another form of diabetes that isn't diabetes called diabetes insipidus. It causes frequent urination, but has nothing to do with diabetes mellitus. Basically, it's water diabetes. There are many causes: head trauma, pituitary tumor, and idiopathic to start, but the treatment for this part of it is a simple medication. See a doc. There's a range of things that cause frequent urination, and you need to figure out why. Reddit, while informative and educational, can't tell you how to stop peeing so often. There's a why to this, and only a doc is going to be able to answer that. Dogglrun says. Also, you said no diabetes, but be sure. 5K1895 says. Are you drinking a lot of liquids? Does this happen regardless of how much you drink? If you can cut down on your liquid intake for a bit, that would probably help. But otherwise see a doctor, because that shouldn't be happening all the time. Yeroy says. Go to the doctor. If it's nothing clinical, think about seeing a pelvic floor physiotherapist. Fuzziton Attaco 21 says. How old are you? This was the symptom along with a little bit of blood in my urine when I found out I had bladder cancer. r/TooAfraidToAsk. Honeycomb 7 says. Is my 21 female college instructor 20-something being inappropriate? I'm having trouble deciding if his behavior is inappropriate or not. He is a grad student teaching a class that I'm taking as an elective for my major. I'm not a fan of this class as he grades very harshly and assigns so much to do between every class, and I'm struggling to keep up, as many of my classmates are. This all started last week on Monday when I had class and usual and went to the grocery store after work. I was almost done shopping when I heard him say my name, which he had just learned that day, from behind me. I said hi to be polite, and I don't even remember what he said. After that, he continued down the aisle and picked up like 2 things. Out of the corner of my eye I saw him coming back down the aisle to talk to me again. He proceeded to talk to me for 20 minutes. He asked if I liked the class, what my major was, what I was planning on doing with it, etc. I honestly was pretty uncomfortable with this conversation, but I am on the shy side and wasn't sure how to shut it down. Eventually he left. The next class I had with him was normal, and he left a comment after class on an assignment I submitted about how I did a great job participating that class. I said one word when he asked for the word for a definition he gave. The next class he privately messaged me through our school's online portal saying that my assignment I had submitted that day was 55 minutes earlier than the last, and that I had great prioritization. Today I received a comment on my participation that was basically a paragraph saying that I was smart but seemed shy and should participate more because I contribute well to class. I'm in a group chat with 5 other classmates whom I sit with, and none of them have received any comments, messages, or anything similar. I'm worried, since these messages have appeared nearly every day I have class ever since I ran into him at the grocery store. Am I wrong to feel uncomfortable and weirded out by this? Am I being overdramatic about it? A penning sort 4826 says. Yep. He's going overboard. He hasn't done anything overtly inappropriate, but it is understandable that the level of attention is rubbing you the wrong way. So far he hasn't really broached professional ethics. People may not like this answer, but I would just keep my head down and try to finish the class unless something more happened. Gender Bender says. Yeah, he is being overzealous, but I wouldn't say he's crossed a line into inappropriate, since all his comments have been about your classwork. If you haven't changed your behavior in any way, and he wants to grade you better, just because he said hi at store, personally I would just roll with it. If he starts flirting with you, tries to make plans with you outside of class, or implies he might grade you differently if you don't do something, or act a certain way, report his ass to the dean of the college. Otherwise, just keep being as you are. Hondex says. It's definitely uncomfortable, but no professional lines have been breached yet, but do keep track of the comments he sends you. If at any point he suggests a date, or hits on you, comments about appearance, double entendre, etc., you may want to take it to student affairs, and bring all the receipts. DFJ3XXX says. Sounds like he knows you are shy and is trying to encourage you to come out of your shell by way of encouragement and participating more. Just let him know that his attention to you is beyond your comfort level. He'll back off. Rocket88 says, I would give him the benefit of the doubt, accept comments as constructive. If you feel uncomfortable beyond just being shy, I think it's fair to tell him first, before running to the dean to blow his career up. Gashkat says, I real sorry for people near you. Grenda Lone says, not enough overt has happened yet to label it inappropriate. It's very suspicious, and he's showing a concerning amount of attention toward you. But at this point you should record/document everything that happens, and every interaction you have with him. Is this a discussion section only, or is he teaching the entire class? Could you request to be switched into another section? Your next step in the chain of command is either the prof teaching the class or the department head, if this grad student is fully responsible for the class. You can also look into what kind of harassment apparatus your school has. Too early to trigger any of this, but be prepared in case you need to. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.